The Zoids attack. Metal claws won't slack. Zoids cries echo loud in the chaos with proud.